I'm like, let's get more robot refs in here. Let's just get NVIDIA to sponsor the NFL. We need AI refs, and I personally would like an AI left tackle.
It was a fair catch.
Sure, RoboCop.
It was a bad catch.
So what are you doing after the game?
Counting electric sheep, getting my Z's.
Heat check.
Heat check. All right, ladies and germs, it's time to tiptoe through the tulips into week 4. It's the Heat Check. Yeah, I'm starting to feel some decidedly autumnal vibes out here in the weather. I felt like it just smelled like school was starting when I was walking over here. I say it every week, largely as a matter of, just as a presentational crutch, something along the lines of the action was, good or nonstop, and largely that is true. And as we'll get into shortly, never more true than this week. It just keeps on escalating. But before we get into the nitty-gritty and the details, let's introduce the gentlemen that are assembled with me here on the Funhouse back deck. In order, as usual, Clayton, hello, how are you doing?
I am feeling lucky. Lucky that I'm 3-0. I feel a lot like the Kansas City Chiefs. Very lucky to be 3-0 and trying to defend the championship.
Win's a win.
That's true.
Who is that sitting next to you?
What's up, shitheads? It's me, your boy, the number 1 fuck boy! From Northampton County, $1,000 town, the Super Saiyan fuck god, my Wi-Fi password is BecauseFi. I competed in the special Squid Games. Fantasy football has always been about 2 things: money, power, and respect.
Respect.
Ryan Howells.
Guys, lots of crazy shit happened this week in the actual league and in our league. And why bury the lead? Let's just get right to it. Number 1 fuckboy. Why don't you take us through the game you had against Dion?
Going into Monday, I thought I was feeling pretty good. I had a couple players left. I had to make up some points, but it turned out to be 2005 Royal Rumble. John Cena, Batista, the last 2. Both go over the ropes with their subpar 100 score, less than subpar 100 scores.
Wait, was that like a Bret Hart Lex Luger? Like they both went over and landed at the same time? Oh man,
that was when McMahon came out and tore both his quads.
For the first, but not the last time. Okay, yeah.
So I was in a state of, who won? I have no idea who won. Did I hit the ground first?
It was fun for me because I was at home not watching the game. I don't have the means to watch at home the Monday night games, but I was following along in the league chat, and then I was like doing my best to like follow along with the scores. So it was basically like, all right, Dion needs like in the last like 2 minutes, like the Bengals got the ball back, right? And so like he basically needed Burrow to get like 20, 30-ish yards maybe, or something like that. And I don't really know what happened except that he finished 1 point short. What the app reflected was a 1 point win. But as you all know, at least those of you who are in the league, and if you're not in the league, I'd love to hear from you, that we voted to mimic Dion's policy, actually, from Funhouse 1 to set a minimum scoring for team defenses at 0. And fuckboy, you fielded the Raiders defense, and generally after last week couldn't fault you. And they just shat the bed every which way and logged a score of -2.
I'll use everything I can to get a win.
This was such a this was like Gorilla Monsoon came out, and because wasn't he the one at the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 11, and he was like, there must be a winner, even though that wasn't in the rules.
Yeah. Who knew wrestling would change the rules in the middle of a bout there?
That was actually the screw job. Like,
That was.
Brett should have seen the second one coming, so I'm saying, fool me once,
To be the World Wrestling Federation champion, you gotta want it every day. It takes an integrated approach to training, and that is what IcoPro is all about.
So Dion's role in Funhouse 1 was adopted by our league, and Dion is the first victim. That's
Yeah.
the ultimate heat check right
Yeah.
there.
You set up your own table to go through.
It's poetry. It's, you know what it
Himself.
is. It's Shakespeare, really.
Let's jump to your team quick, Dano,
Okay,
because
yeah.
the first 3 weeks of the season, you have been in the top 3 high scorers. You have
have I?
been
Oh.
crushing it. I just went through and double-checked that.
I thought it was just my bench week 1.
I won my game, but if you double my score, I get right to around where you are. You doubled my score, and we're both 3-0. That's very concerning for me trying to defend this belt.
Well, okay, I'll dig into that a little bit because what I got was some just absurd scores from people. Like, I think that while I always had a lot of faith in like Malik Neighbors, now that there's kind of tape on the guy, I think that they're gonna maybe start doubling him. Jaden Daniels, maybe, because he was throwing some amazing bombs into very tight windows. That's something worth hoping for. Although it's worth pointing out that the fun trivia stat that they were throwing around that game is that the first game since 1940 that neither team had a turnover or a punt. And that's really cool for Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow. It's fucking embarrassing for the respective defenses of these teams. We'll see how it goes when Jaden Daniels is not locked in a shootout and defenses can just sit back in a quadruple high safety look. All in all, it was just, and Charbonnet is only going to be there as long as Kenneth Walker's out.
I think when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are healthy, they're going to try and, decrease the carries that Barkley has. But yes, Barkley is a valuable weapon.
Yeah, I would hope. As an Eagles fan, you don't want to see quite that amount of wear and tear through week 3 for the guy.
Exactly.
Get him on a pitch count, like the Niners apparently are doing with every single one of their skill players. Really excellent gamesmanship, I've got to say, on the part of Kyle Shanahan, taking the extreme step of sending Christian McCaffrey to Germany. Did you guys see this?
I did see that. Yeah. Another opinion.
This is going to be like the time that, Cena. Cena had some kind of injury, and they were like, oh, he'll be out for 10 months. He's not going to be back until after WrestleMania. And then he was the surprise 30th entrance at the Rumble that year. It was 2007 or something. And it was just like, whoa, my God, he's like a superhuman. Oh my God. He has Wolverine's regenerative powers.
And his name is John Cena!
Is anybody playing in Germany? Somebody's playing in Germany this year. Is it the Niners?
Watching the Buffalo
Dolphins
gamer Andre
Chiefs
Reed.
is what I'm coming up
Oh, Dolphins Chiefs. That makes sense because they're trying to get the same way they got the Jags over in England. They're trying to get the Chiefs over in Germany.
Correction.
Oh,
It is the Giants and Panthers.
well. Okay.
2024.
Well, I guess what that means is the NFL is trying to tell Germany to fuck itself. Definitely take a quick look at the weekly report, see if there's anything else worth mentioning. Well, despite Malik Neighbors' heroics, you, Clayton, did have Jamar Chase up there, seemed to come back alive.
Jamar Chase is off the trade block for now. I took him off last night.
Josh Allen. As I said, I was like, don't even worry about him, Olajuwon. He's going to be fine. And boy, was he ever fine. Got to be leading the MVP race at this point. We talked about how Dion, and as you can tell from his team name, talk Burrdy to me, basically always has a difficult decision to make. The good news for him is it wouldn't have mattered because Joe Burrow and Brock Purdy almost scored exactly the same
I
things.
saw that. Yeah, pretty wild.
So you know what? Hey, that's that. At least there's that relief that that decision didn't screw it. Guys, after week 3, we got the possibility and in fact the stark reality of 0-3 teams, and that means it's time to fire up the punishment watch for the first time this season.
It's official. You suck.
So, yep, there are in fact 2 0-3 teams occupying the 11th and 12th spots, and they are at 11. Don Cherleone, who just last night announced that he's back and is going to start trying. He had a phone. He had like a lost phone or a busted phone issue that probably prevented him from managing his roster this past week, or at least that's the excuse. So perhaps we can see something better out of him. As a reminder, Lorenzo, if he ends up finishing last, is going to have to spend an awful lot of time going through a Taco Bell drive-thru. But currently, by stats, occupying the 12th spot in the league are dear beloved treasure Mark Gutierrez, Foreskin Fungus, and if he doesn't make it, he's going to have to cook a delicious meal in the Soto's kitchen for one lucky champion.
Mark has yet to score at least 100 points.
Respect.
So he gets no respect.
It's time to hear from our friendly neighborhood bartender, Derek. Derek, how are you doing, brother?
Wonderful. How you guys doing?
Oh, very well, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, I did see you on Sunday, so I kind of know the answer to this. But how did your week go?
Like I said earlier, I got my ass kicked on all 3 fronts. Both fantasy leagues and the Buccaneers got quite embarrassed by Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. But even more embarrassingly, Baranowski beat me by like 80 some odd points, I believe, in fantasy.
Oh my!
It was like
Really?
170 something to.
Are you
I don't
sure
know,
you're
did
not
I
talking about
break 100?
me? Because I did that to you. That was I beat you 174 to 107
Oh, there we go.
in ours. Let's see.
I thought that was Baranowski. Maybe that was the other league.
You played, right? Dion. You played Dion.
Jesus, it was Dion. Dion prevailed by a score of 112 to 99. Considerably closer, but still in that league drops you just a 2-1, not too bad. And meanwhile, in ours 1-2, so you know whatever.
Yeah,
You're not even close to the punishment watch.
There we go. Ooh,
Yeah. Who the Bucks got this week? Wait, I can't. It's it's right on the tip of my brain.
Eaglets. That's what it is. Eaglets.
Bang, baby. Clayton, I believe you had something prepared for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention before that we had our first trade of the year.
Oh.
Between myself and Buka.
Yes,
And,
that's right.
Commish, thank you for pushing that through so we could set our lineup.
That felt like ages ago.
Yeah.
But that's actually worth pointing out here that you get it's 2 days from the moment that the trade is offered and accepted. Well, accepted for the approval to go through. And I do want to give everybody enough time to be able to weigh in on that. The only reason I did that was because with 5 yays and obviously the 2 people who offered and accepted the trade not voting, it was therefore impossible to get the requisite 6 votes required to veto. So it was going to be fine, and I didn't want you guys to miss out on having your guys for the week. But keep that in mind for future trades. Try and get those things into the system before whatever it is, 11 or noon on Fridays seems like a good rule of thumb.
I want the rest of you cowboys to know something. There's a new sheriff in town.
All right, got a little crazy NFL facts, and I'm going to twist a couple of them into trivia for you guys.
Ooh, okay.
We'll breeze through this. Let's start with the first one. This is kind of like an easy one, way to start it off. The longest field goal ever made was in 2021. Does anybody remember the kicker and the length?
Oh, shit.
I think I do. Was it Tucker 66?
You nailed it. Justin Tucker still holds the record with the 66-yard field goal. Dallas almost beat that on Sunday, but it was 65 yards.
What's interesting is there was somebody, I think it was Brandon Aubrey, early, like at week 1 or 2. Like he kicked something that was it was a shorter field goal. It was like 63 or something, but he belted it so hard that it like would have been good from something because we can tell that now.
Do you know who the oldest team in the NFL is that still holds its original name?
Oh wow!
Established in 1919.
The Packers?
Bingo!
Oh,
the Green Bay
shoot.
Packers are the oldest team that still holds its name. The other two are the Bears and the Cardinals, but they were 1920.
I would have waited a long time and gotten it wrong.
Speaking of waiting a long time, great segue in. Just a fact about the Packers. The Packers have the longest waiting list for season tickets. It's so long that dads put their children on there as soon as they're born. And some of them have lived to 100 years and never gotten a call for them. Season tickets. The waiting list is to be believed to be about 1,000 years long.
Does nobody just like move away? Like, is that?
I actually knew that. Shout out to my buddy Brandon, Packers fan.
The longest postseason drought. 51 years this team did not win a single postseason game from 1947 to 1998. You guys have any guesses?
Winning a game in 98. That would be the hell. Winning a playoff game
The Browns? Cleveland?
in 98. You said it was started. When did
no,
the
it
drought
could've
start?
1947 to 1998.
Lions?
Both are incorrect. That would be the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh man.
Longest drought. So there are two teams that do not believe in retiring jerseys. Do you guys know the teams?
The New York Yankees.
In the NFL. Sorry.
The Cowboys?
The Cowboys are the obvious one. Do you guys know the other team?
Is it the Giants?
No.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's my.
I'm just throwing one out there. Minnesota.
No. Too bad Migs didn't come. It's actually the Raiders.
It's the
I was
Raiders.
curious to see if he would know that. Yeah, the Raiders do not believe in retiring numbers either.
Huh. Oh, this is kind of neither here nor there, but something that's just really funny. The Falcons. This. Who they get blown out by? Like, that they lost to Andy Dalton and the Panthers.
Oh, is this about the
badly?
owner?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Arthur Blank, who owns the Falcons, had Arthur Blank night, and where his own name was introduced into the Ring of Honor in the stadium. I can't begin to like there's so many things that are like Falcony about this.
Yes, absolutely. They were talking about that on the radio this morning. I was kind of laughing
so
at it.
suitable that they got blown the fuck out by Andy Dalton for that.
This team's inaugural season in 1976. They have the longest losing streak in NFL history. They lost their first 26 games in 1976 and 1977.
Good thing Derek's not out here.
Bingo. Yeah. Yep, that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
creamsicle Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, here's some quick facts for you because I don't want to keep you guys all long. The highest scoring game in NFL history was 1966 between the Giants and Washington. The final score...
I know it!
Go ahead.
No, I don't know it. It was the Bears in Washington. Never mind. I'm sorry.
This was both teams scored up a bunch of
The
points.
over-under was the highest.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. The final score was 72-41, and it was one of only 4 games since the NFL-AFL merger to reach over 100 points.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, in
They
that game, the kickers were brothers, and
What?
they both each kicked extra points. They were Pete and Charlie Gugelak.
That was the days when you just had random like Polish people just getting like thrown onto NFL teams. Like, this guy looks strong. Look at the quads on this guy. They didn't even know what a quad was then.
George Blanda, I found one style, and we had to bring him up. The
Yes.
longest tenured player in the NFL history is George Blanda. who surprisingly spanned his NFL career over 4 decades. He's the only player to do that.
Holy
Think about that. He actually retired in 1975 under John Madden himself.
And oh, that's crazy. I can't believe we didn't touch on that the first time we brought him up, because he pretty much already elevated into a folk hero as far as we're concerned.
I have 2 more quick stats for you.
All right.
Do you guys know what U.S. president saved football from being abolished completely?
Probably. I mean, FDR probably is the most sensible bet here because of the war and everything.
The other R.
Teddy
Theodore
saved-
Roosevelt.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense. I get
Roosevelt was a huge college football fan, and
Yeah.
there were 45 player deaths between 1900 and 1905. So he was the one that got together and introduced the forward pass, because back then it was all just running.
Right.
The forward pass spread out the defenders, and players weren't getting killed like the Eagles do the tush push, and they all kill each other.
it. Yeah.
So that Theodore Roosevelt is credited with saving American
Notably,
football.
no helmets then, probably.
Helmets weren't required until 1943.
And the ones that they had was just like a thin piece of leather. Like your feet had better protection than your head did. Thank you for that lovely. I didn't know any of that shit, Clayton. I
You
knew
knew the
one of
field goal
I knew one of those
Well.
things. I knew one of them. I didn't know all the stuff from the Cretaceous era. So I guess me and Fuckboy tie with 1 each and several wrong answers apiece.
Deja vu.
That happened last season too, I believe. Although that was you having a game, and me and Luca or me and Clayton got like. Yeah.
Well, I was referring to, I think I get 2 extra points.
Rather than go through every single game, we're just going to single out one game really to focus on. And what better than the first time this season that I get to the Fun World Order gets to go against FX in a revival of one of the greatest violent rivalries ever to grace the linoleum. Now, Buka has been having largely a rough season and is at 1-2, and as we discussed earlier, off a couple of very strong weeks. I'm sitting pretty at 3-0, but the projection has us at 50-50, and as I look over this thing, I'm just like, maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it actually should be favoring Buka at this point, because I look at Kelsey getting 13 3/4 points, and I look at Goddard only getting 9, and I'm like, that probably should be flipped, frankly. So Buka's got Kyler Murray, who has in the last couple of weeks has just kind of come alive. I watched him 2 weeks ago, and he just looked absolutely refreshed. Marvin Harrison Jr. has really popped off the page after a lackluster week 1. Looks really good.
With no A.J. Brown, Goddard's getting a lot more.
Goddard
play.
went off. God,
Yeah.
fingers crossed, AJ Brown's coming back.
Is he a maybe this week?
I believe so, because DeVonta Smith took an absolutely dreadful hit with that concussion. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, you know what? Now's a really good time to point out that this week, everybody, you get to designate an auto sub.
Oh yeah.
You get to choose a player. I haven't activated it yet, but I will, shortly. That you get to choose a player that you may think maybe they will start, maybe they won't, maybe because of injury. But even if not, you can set somebody and you can pick somebody on your bench to sit in for them as long as they are eligible for whatever spot that is. And my understanding is that even if the bench guy has their game first, if the starter ends up not playing, it'll automatically sub them in.
My suggestion with that is utilize your flex spot with someone who is like doubtful or questionable. Is just in case that, let's say it's a wide receiver who's questionable, and you have a running back you want to replace it with. You could do that with the flex position. If you have him in as wide receiver, you're screwed.
Absolutely right. Very good advice. Let's take just a quick look at the 2 fellows we mentioned earlier on the punishment watch. Mark actually appears to have he's got a game against Rob and at the moment favored 55-45, but that's because Rob has Devonta Smith, who, as we just mentioned, is out, and Rob will have to make a substitution. We'll see if Mark can get his way out of 12th place. Don Chairleone Lorenzo is gonna be playing the number one fuckboy.
I'm obviously not worried.
Boys, I think it's been a fun little chat. Is there anything anybody wants to chime in on before we get out of here?
I got it pissed.
Well done. All right, everybody. Good luck. Enjoy the games. See you next week.